Hi guys, and welcome to Mom Coach Wife. Today is probably, when you guys are watching this, a little after Monday, but we are still doing the series Mompreneur Mondays. And I know we've had a couple of hiccups the last couple of weeks of actually getting it published on Monday. I am working on that, trying to figure out what the problem is with my videos and the upload times and whatnot. But this week is actually not due to any technical issues. We just had some rescheduling of the moms that were going to be featured, and due to a scheduling conflict, I'm actually presenting you guys with a mom who was originally on deck for the series, and I didn't think that I was going to present to you guys until possibly next year. But her name is Samantha, and she's the owner of 1010 Social, which is a social media marketing company. And I'm so excited to be able to bring her to you guys today, and so thankful for her taking the time out to jump into the series, not only once in a day, but actually twice, because it was so last minute. We did all of our recording on today, Monday, but I'm just not sure that it's all going to be edited and ready for you guys on Monday, because we literally just chatted and we're going to be talking in just a couple of more hours here. So I just wanted to put that out there, as it will probably be obvious anyway once you guys get it that it didn't happen on a Monday. But anyways, I'm really excited to continue to bring you guys amazing mompreneurs who are killing it in their businesses, and also just learning how to balance their dreams and their goals with being mothers. Some are also wives, girlfriends, co-parenting. There's so many different lifestyles within these moms, and it's absolutely amazing to hear their stories and to be inspired by them. So I hope that just as they have been inspiring to me, that they've also been inspiring to you as well. And if you do feel like the moms that you have seen in the series have been inspiring, be sure to connect with each and every one of them that you feel that you could see yourself being a friend with or relating to, or who you feel like they could help you reach your goals and your dreams. Because ultimately, every single one of these moms are in a business that is designed to help others in some sort of way. So be sure to connect with them. And of course, make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell on. Right now, we've really been focused on the Monday videos. I haven't really gotten back into the Wednesday videos yet, so hopefully that will be coming soon as well. But for right now, we've been doing the Monday videos with the mompreneurs, and that's been working out great. And hopefully we'll get back into the productivity and accountability videos that we were doing on Wednesdays. But I honestly, right now, I just don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully soon. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to the channel, bell for notifications. If you like this video or any of the others from the series, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps these stories of multiple moms get out to the world, so every little bit does count. And thank you for those who have been with me through this entire YouTube journey. I truly appreciate it and hope to see you around for the long haul. Now let's meet Samantha and learn all about 1010 Social and how she balances that with her individual life. Hi, Samantha.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
Good. So thank you so much. A huge thank you, Samantha, because you stepped in, and that is a huge reason why you guys did not see a lot of promotion about Samantha. She stepped up when we had a cancellation for the series. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate you being here with me today. But before I get all wordsy, because that's kind of what I do, go
Yes.
ahead and tell everyone what it is that makes you more than just a mom and just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. My name's Sam, like she said. Of course, the first thing when you say that is I want to introduce myself as the mom. It's such a habit, right? So
Mhm.
I live right outside of Nashville with my family. I run a business that we'll talk about later. But I am so excited to connect with you because this is actually like one of my favorite things to do. Is just connect with women, talk, encouragement. And I love the topic that we're going to talk about.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. One of the things that you just said is that the first thing you wanted to do was introduce yourself as a mom.
Mhm. Totally.
It is totally a habit that we have of just being like, oh yeah, I'm so and so's mom, or I'm a mom of so many kids. And it's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Our kids are a huge part of our lives, but that's part of the reason why we're here, is to talk about the fact that we're actually so much more than that. So tell me a little bit about like a hobby outside of your business, outside of your kids, that you enjoy doing just yourself.
Oh, that is harder than it sounds. Yeah, I'm pretty chill. So I love going to the movies when that was a thing, hanging out. I like reading books. I used to read a lot of scary books before they gave me nightmares. And I love music. So all the chill things, just hanging out, relaxing. A new habit that I started doing was I started to get my nails done, which was like my only alone time. So I guess I like getting my nails done now too.
I love it. I love the nails because that's something that was recent for me too. I've never been a super girly girl.
Mhm.
Like I'm not really like a tomboy either. This was like somewhere between, I guess. And right before the pandemic hit, I told my husband, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start getting my nails done. I had done it in the past before, right? And it
Yeah.
wasn't important. I let it fall off. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start. And I set a date. It was literally the weekend after our state shut down. And so it was like, well, I guess I wasn't supposed to do
Just kidding.
that. And then because I go to our fitness center to get my nails done, and they were supposed to open up in July, and then our state was like, no. So it's like, I guess this is just not gonna happen. And finally, it's finally happening again. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I had to like train myself to like just sit there, like, because they have your hands, right? And these are my nails. They just do the like dip thing. And so they have your hands. So I can't play on my phone. I can't text. I can't just like,
Right.
do, 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 which is
I
hard.
took the pedicure. The pedicure is easy because I
Mm.
can still use
Yep.
hands. But yeah, it's really funny. And my first time, my daughter had to come with me because I thought the kids center at our gym was open. Well, it wasn't.
Oh,
And so I was like, crap, her dad's not here, so he couldn't like take her because I just took her with me.
yeah.
And so it was like, I actually was like, can she stay in here with me?
Can we hang out? Yeah.
And so it was so funny because then she got excited. She's like, oh, I want my nails done. And she put her hands up like so naturally. I don't know where this girly girl came from because it wasn't from me.
Yeah.
It was just like so perfectly, like she had been there before. And I'm like, I ain't teach her that.
Bro.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, that's funny. That's gonna be one of my girls. Yeah.
I'm gonna be super
Like,
girly.
mhm.
Please do this.
Pink, please.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where the girly ways came from, but she is all girl, pink everything,
Mhm.
glitter, like doesn't want to get messy. I was like playing in dirt, getting paint all over myself. Like I was the messy kid. Like, and to this day, that's why I love my garden.
Yeah.
I get to
You
play
can
with
play.
dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's like, no, I'm okay. I'll help you in the garden, but she's like standing up and like
Just
keeping
like,
the
I'll
dirt
pick it.
as far away from her as possible. It's so funny.
That's funny. That's
Yeah,
funny. How different. Yeah.
yeah. It's really interesting. But I did all of that about being more than a mom, and I talked about my kid.
See? Hard.
It is hard. It is really hard because even some of the things that we love, we start to incorporate our children into it to see if it's things that they will also enjoy and things that then we can enjoy together. So it does become really, really difficult. But the nails after that first appointment, all mom, like no kids
Never.
allowed. No kids allowed. So tell everyone a little bit about your family structure so that we know, not so much that we know like your personal business, like, hey, Sam, what's your life like? It's not what it is about. I want you to tell your family structure though, because in this series, we're doing this every single week. So there's 52 different mothers that will be speaking. And the idea is that your family structure may be very similar to someone in the audience and to give them some inspiration to be more than just a mom, not necessarily a business owner, but just to go out and maybe go get their nails done.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So I am married. I have a husband of almost, I hope that's right as I say it, almost 12 years. And then I have 4 children, 8, 7, 4, and 3. So lots of busyness happening. We are also embarking on the homeschool journey next year. So lots of family time, lots of new stuff and like changes happening this past year, but it's all good stuff, busy. So I'm sure all the women can recognize busy, but also really good.
For sure. And if you don't mind me asking, what was it that sparked homeschooling? Because I've gotten very mixed results from talking to everyone, especially with the pandemic and kids being home and having to be educated more so at home than in the public school systems. And I'm seeing a lot of moms that were like, this is chaotic. I need them to go back to school. And then a lot of moms who actually dove deeper into some of the school systems and decided homeschooling was actually better for their kids.
Yeah, it's funny because during the crazy time last year, we obviously got sent home, and in California, my kids were in a private school. And so they sent me home, and girl, I quit. Like, I was like, we cannot do COVID schooling. Like, I think I did like a month and was like, we can't do this. We're going to start summer early. And then the following year, I ended up putting them back into a private school, and they were in person. But then when we moved, they're in public school right now. And it was sort of a little bit of both. Like, homeschooling is different than what I experienced at that time, because it was like running a business. My husband was home working full time, all of the crazy, plus trying to teach my kids something that someone else was giving us, right? So I didn't feel like aligned with that. With this, they're in public school. There's a few things that I'm not super loving in the school systems. One of which is as simple as they are gone from me from 8 to 4, and that I just don't love that. So, yeah. So I'm partnering with like a hybrid thing where they go 2 days a week and get homeschooled, or we use the same curriculum. And so I have like ability that way, but they'll be home with me too. So it's a good mix, I think, right now. But I totally was feeling that. And now I'm just choosing different, which that's the cool part about like life and business and family. We could homeschool for a year and then be like, no, it's not for me. Or I could love it. Like, and I'm totally cool with either of those situations.
I learned that I'm 100% not a teacher. Like, so it was so crazy because my daughter is 4 now, so she's preschool age. So she wasn't in school during COVID, right? She literally, her 3rd birthday was right when we shut down. Also, we were also planning her birthday party and that guy.
Yep.
And so we had been talking about homeschooling, and then I had to do it. And I was like, I don't know if I like this. But it's actually gotten better. So when I first started the series, I hated it. Like, I hated it. I was like, this is horrible. But it's gotten better because I started to understand how she learned. Because it was like, she just doesn't listen to me. And that's true too, because she listens so much better to like outside teachers than she does to me. But I figured out how she learns. And so that helped a whole lot. And now my husband's like, well, all the stuff that's going on in the school systems, we might want to homeschool again. And I'm like, by we, you mean me, but it's
yeah, that's what he meant.
So that was the other thing, because it was like, it's not that he doesn't help, like he definitely helps with it, but it's primarily like mom's job because he doesn't. I have a low patience, and like my patience is here and his is like way down off the screen, don't see it. And so it was like, obviously I'm going to have to be the person that does the extra educating. And that was really, really scary. But I've been so curious, and why I asked you about the homeschooling about it, because of the differences that I've experienced and the differences that I've heard in so many people. So do you use a like a homeschool program? Like I know they have that one, I think it's like K through 12 or something like that.
Yeah, so because we're partnering with like the hybrid school, they picked out all the curriculum. Like they have a director of curriculum and they picked it out. And so what I'm going to do is basically take the curriculum, put it in a binder and have like a month's worth of curriculum at a time to just go through, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm super excited for what you just said, to learn their, like all of it really, like their styles, their learning styles, their habits, like things like that. And then be able to pull out like, okay, we're obsessed with dinosaurs and dogs right now, literally. And so, okay, well, let's go check out a dinosaur. I don't know if there's a dinosaur museum here, but a dinosaur museum, or let's go to the dog park and see the different kinds of dogs. Let's do things that are super interesting to you, but
Right.
we can still also learn math and science and history, like all the things with it.
You can count
Um,
dinosaurs.
yeah, like it's, I mean, pretty, I'm not gonna say it's easy. It just feels different than when the school shut down and they forced me. And so I'd like teach my kid. That was awful because they didn't completely understand what was happening. Well, neither did we, but like, and then, okay, let me spend time scanning it and sending my kindergartner's work back to the teacher. Like it was just too much, where this, I'm like, I'm in control, which is scary, super scary, but also kind of exciting that like,
It's kind of freeing.
it totally, I can make my family whatever I want it is to look like. If we want to go, of course there's like the husband and job, but right now he's still at home. But if we wanted to go to the mountains for an extended weekend, we could bring school with us. Or, my kid doesn't have to be at the bus stop at 4:30 in the
Right.
afternoon. So
And I think that's become something that's so much more attractive to a lot of us in this time. I know it has been for us. Like, even one of the things, my husband is 80% of the reason why I haven't done much with my real estate license that I told you about earlier. Because he's like, well, that just keeps us in the state and you have to be here for that, especially starting up. And I was like, yeah, you have a good point. He was like, you can do mom coach wife from anywhere. I'm like,
mhm,
that's true.
true. Yeah.
And
It's
that's like the really attractive thing for us, of like becoming entrepreneurs in the first place. But then like we were forced to fully dive into it, and it honestly ended up being a good thing, because like you said, like you want to go out to the mountains, down to Florida, overseas somewhere, like you can literally do that, and still, you're, as long as you have access to the internet, in most cases, like you can
mhm.
still do whatever it is that you were doing from home anyway. So it's a really beautiful thing. Now, I know you mentioned that your kids are really into dinosaurs and dogs right now. um Here, I don't know if you guys have a zoo out in the Nashville-ish area, but I know that here our zoo actually had, at least at one point, they had like a dinosaur exhibit. I hope that it's still there,
See?
and because my daughter also loves dinosaurs, so we tell her at night, good night, sleep tight, and don't let the dinosaurs bite. So
Oh,
that's,
that's so sweet.
that's like our good night thing, and it's been that way, gosh, like since she was like 1.
Mhm.
So we have, she makes sure we have to say it and we have to roar at the end. It's like this whole thing. Um,
That's so sweet.
that's the only non-girly thing about her, is dinosaurs and cars.
I'm gonna use that. That's cute.
Yeah, use it. I might have gotten it from somewhere for all I know. Like, I don't know. It worked out and it's been our thing. So if they're
That's so
really into
sweet.
it, that'll be kind of a fun thing to do at nighttime. But yeah, so she loved it. She was maybe like 1 when we took her to see it. And I don't know if the Detroit Zoo still has it, but it was really cool, and it like taught her all about different dinosaurs and stuff. So
I'm gonna look into it because we're like borderline obsessed. So mhm.
yeah. Don't go starting a Jurassic Park,
Trip.
okay? Like,
I mean, I'd go visit. sort of, except for we all see how the movies end, so maybe not,
Yeah.
but
Right. Like it never ends well. So
maybe
even
don't do that.
people are hurt or killed by the end of it. So,
The park's destroyed.
Right. Park is destroyed. There's a T-Rex roaming now. We don't know if it's going to come back to this. I think in the last one, it's like in the US somehow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I forgot about those.
Now we've gotten into dinosaurs.
It's the best.
So now we know a little bit about you, Sam. We know that your family's totally into dinosaurs. You get your nails done for your alone time. You love books and music, and you really sound like one person that I could really be cool with. As of like all of these moms, you guys have been absolutely amazing. So now tell me a little bit about 1010 Social, and why did you start this business, and what's some of your goals for it?
Yeah. 1010 Social, I started almost 3 years ago officially. And prior to actually starting a business, I had done social media for like Young Life in my area and for church. And so I was aware of the online space, but I had no idea. Like, I had no idea that I myself could start a business and make it what it is today. But that happened because prior to that, I was working at a hospital. And my fourth child at the time, we thought he might have been having like seizures and such. And so I literally remember him getting an EEG. So we had to like lay down together and just thinking, there's no way I can do this with this child and all my children and then still work 8 to 10-ish hours in the
Yeah.
hospital. And so I'm pretty sure it was that night that I started Googling like virtual assistant and how do I do this or whatever. And so I came across a program and went through the program to be a virtual assistant. Very shortly after that, realized that I do not like doing all the things for all the people. I think that's great. And I love my VA. But I just realized I had way too many people in real life. And then to manage like people online, it was just too much. So I was like, okay, what do I actually love to do? Well, I love social media. I love connecting with people. I love helping people's business connect in that way. So I made it 1010 Social and then eventually added the ads part. So my business does all things social media, organic, like monthly management. I have a course teaching you how to do social media in like less time because we're all crazy busy. And then I do paid traffic. So Instagram and Facebook ads, all things social media, basically.
Nice. And that
Yeah.
is, my dog is so disrespectful, guys. I'm sorry. This happens every time I do something during the day because you can see the bunnies in our backyard. So.
Oh, yeah.
But social media is probably the most time-consuming and annoying part of business, in my opinion. Sorry,
Yeah.
it just
Don't be sorry.
really is. And I had to create like an entire calendar, and I still suck at it. Like I'm just not that person, and it's really bad because I'm not even 30 yet. I'm 29, so it's like I'm supposed to be a part of that generation that's like into social media and knows how it works. I'm not that person. It just doesn't work. I'm so much better with like one-on-one interactions and talking to people face to face than being on social media. And it's like frequency of posting and consistency in posting is like, I forget that I have an Instagram or Facebook sometimes. And it's like, if I end up on it, I'm like, oh, that's cute, that's cool. And I'm like scrolling through, but actually being active on my own personal profile is like super stressful. So I commend people like you who have like really figured it out and are helping people like myself to navigate the world of social media, because while it can seem really simple, when you're doing it for a business, it becomes a whole lot more work, and it becomes a whole lot more like thought involved in it. Like when I just had social media for myself, I'd post pictures. I didn't care how I looked. I didn't
Nope.
care about like if my photo had the right lighting. I didn't care if my caption was made sense to everybody else or not. Like it didn't matter. It was just whatever the heck I wanted to post on my personal page. But once I became a business, it was like all these rules to like make sure that I represented my business properly. So thank you for creating your business and help
Yeah.
people navigate the craziness that is social media marketing. My dog is staring at me.
It's funny because if you go on like my personal profiles are pretty private, but like there's half the time it's not a caption. It might be like Grace at gymnastics, or and there's a photo of my kid at it's like a scrapbook for my children because I know I'll want these photos later, but like I don't put any effort into like my personal one. But basically, yeah, I'm a huge believer in zone of genius, right? The idea that we all in business, motherhood, relationships, like all of that, we all have like areas that we're super great at. And there's a bajillion tests that can like help you tell you that. But there's also something that you love in your business and that you're really good at. And like that's where your focus should be. And there comes a point to business where you are able to hire things out. And so I love doing that. Like I happen to be really good at social media. I love it. And so if I take this off of your plate, whoever's plate, then that means you could spend time focusing doing the things you love, the things that you're really good at, and the things that are like only you can do, they earn you money kind of things. Like I can't go on your social media and sell for you
Right.
as Sam, but I can like under you. You know what I mean? Like I can't um go into be a keynote speaker at an event because I'm not Tony Robbins, but I could do their social media or whatever. That's
Right.
not a good example because
If you,
Tony
but
Robbins, but
you can take the general messaging of whatever it is that particular person is putting out there, take some photos that have been provided and create content in that way, but you can't be them. You can't
see
do
them.
the
Mhm.
work that happens behind the scenes. And I think that's the thing for me. It's like I get caught up in doing the work that's going on behind the scenes, and
Mhm.
like everyone else doesn't see it. So if you're not a client, like you don't see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
if,
Yeah.
if you're not, a part of my day to day, you have no idea the work of what goes on behind it. And I think part of it is because when I first got into entrepreneurship, social media was like very minor, right? Like
Mhm.
we had it, but it wasn't really heavily used in business. And like I remember when Instagram got Instagram for business, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow. And I had an Instagram for my business at the time, but Instagram business didn't exist. So like marketing and selling and all the things we can do on Instagram now was not a thing. It was a thing on Facebook, but it was
Yeah.
on Instagram. And so it's evolved so much. And that has been, you can see him now. And that has been like so amazing to see the evolution of social media when it comes to business. Now, your name, I really think is pretty cool. I have a bunch of different ideas of why it's 1010 Social, but I'm gonna let you tell everyone why it is called.
Wait, I want to hear the ideas. Yeah, so a 1010 social came to be because it is there's well, two ways. It's for John 10:10. It's a scripture in the Bible.
Oh,
I am a believer. And so it says it talks about abundant life. And so I took that and was like, yes, when I take this off of people's plates, I'm giving them the opportunity to live more abundantly and that they don't need to worry about the day-to-day tasks of social media. And
hey,
so
I like
1010
that.
social but I have heard like the most amazing ideas, like, oh, 10 out of 10 and things
That's
like
what
that.
I
I'm
was
like,
thinking.
okay,
That's the one that I was thinking. I was
good.
like, it's like a 10 out of 10. It's like top tier. So that's the 1010.
I
That's
mean,
what I was thinking.
yeah, I'll take that one too. 10 out of 10. Heck yeah.
So yeah, that was exactly where my head was going, was like it's like top tier, 10 out of 10, 10 stars kind of thing. And I
I
was like,
love that.
okay, I really like it. But I was like, I don't know that that's why she named it that. I tend to come up with my own ideas of why people have done different things. So I was like, let me ask first. But I love that you incorporated a scripture, and especially the way in which you incorporated it wasn't just like, oh, this was my favorite scripture, so I just used it, but that it actually had meaning for what you're doing in your business as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's super like I love that it's super personal because it's personal to me, but then also it gives me a chance to like share what it is even about. But then also like you could also never know and still work with me. Like it's not
Yeah.
like
It is
JesusLovesYou.com,
right.
you know?
It's not like, and I hate to say it in this way because I don't want it to sound like anti-Christian because it's not, this statement is not, but it's not like, it's not overbearingly Christian. And, you know, so like if someone didn't feel like they were super strong Christians, or maybe they weren't Christians, they could still comfortably like come to you and want to work with you and not be like, oh, I'm going to get Bible thumped when I come here. Because I
Yeah.
know that's a thing. And I'm sorry if there are Bible thumpers who were offended by that, but
They say
I
Bible
have
thumper.
personally been Bible thumped before, and it's not fun. So please stop it.
Well, if you spend any amount of time with me, you will know that, I mean, I hold my own Bible very close to me, but I would never, like, I want people to know me and know my business and know that there's something different about me, but not, I mean, they'll learn that the different, like, comes from lots of things, but one of which is my faith, and it just makes me better. But I know that's not the case for all Christians in today's society, but I hang out with everyone. So, I mean, and my clients are not all faith based. My clients range from everything. I
Yeah,
just
no, I
love
think
people.
that's the most Christian thing about what you do is that you don't have to only work with people of your same faith, you know?
Mm-mm.
But we can go through this whole thing on Christianity and like still being a Christian without being harmful to other people, but that's not what the show's about.
You can keep going. Yeah, no, but
Going.
and like one of the things is like I love Jesus, but my business has that behind meaning for it. But I also help all business owners. And the way you might see that I'm different is that like my marketing tactics are different. I believe in like authentic marketing, not like spammy, crappy marketing that is so prevalent now. I also run my business with integrity. Like you will never feel, especially because I deal with people's money too. Like in Facebook ads, a lot of people, some of their first objections are like, I'm nervous about you handling my money. And I'm like, girl, I got you. Like I treat your money better than mine. But like that's integrity. Like honor, things like that are core values in my life and business. And so it just comes off across, hopefully, from a business standpoint that like you can trust Sam because I care about your business literally just as much as mine. You should hear the conversations I have with like my coach. I'm like, okay, like her business, So hopefully all of that comes through as well because I mean, I love what I do and I love that I get to help people, mompreneurs especially, like I get to help people scale their businesses and build community and do it in a way that reflects the business owners and do it in a way that is authentic. And I know that word is like overused now, but just
Yeah,
real life. Like
people
if you
call
see my
things like
social
what they
media
are.
stories, I know you'll see Sam on the feed pretty like this, but then you'll see my hot mess laundry in the background talking to you real talk because that's just how I show up. So
You see all of this. This is there's you probably can't tell, but there's like paint stains on the table now because we just started painting with my daughter, and it's just like it is what it is, and that's why I even love what because so you guys know I actually meet with these women for a few minutes before we start recording, and that's why I loved actually the conversation that we had prior because I felt that you were coming from a very authentic place and it wasn't like a fake or phony. And that's what I even want this series to be. I want people to be able to see a variety of women in their own light, in their own lives, and just being themselves and seeing how these individuals impact their businesses and are impacting the world and still rocking it out as dope moms who are raising amazing little humans. So I love that your basis of your business is the authenticity, not just for you, but also for your clients. because that's what people are really gravitating towards. And although, like you mentioned, authenticity being like overused now, and I see it all the time. Oh, I'm so authentic. I'm like, no, you're not.
Stop it.
You're like,
Yeah.
please stop. You literally put your makeup on just like Kim K, and you want to tell me that you're authentic. No offense to Kim K, like she's doing her thing, but that's her thing. And I see so many people like replicating not just her, but just people in general, and not being true to themselves. And that's the real authenticity, is being true to yourself and not trying to do what someone else in your industry or someone else in the world is doing. And so I really love that is what you have been embodying in your business, and it shines through. In my opinion, it shines through in conversation with you as well.
Thank you. And it's funny that you mentioned that too, because that is actually the marketing magic. Like, what sets you apart is your uniqueness, your authenticity, your real life. Like, I could throw a rock and hit like 500 social media people online, right? Like, there's a bajillion of us, but there's this key piece, or like, I'm what sets me apart from anyone else, good or bad, like whatever. But there's, as women, as entrepreneurs, as like business owners, there's things in your life and your personality that sets you apart. And that's where the marketing magic is. That's what attracts like your ideal clients to you. I wish more people would honestly hone in on what that is for themselves, because you would like, it would explode for you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and just like on a basic level, something everyone can understand, when you watch an ad, if that ad doesn't stand out to you, if it's not different from the ad you saw 2 minutes ago, you're not going to remember it. And I'm a huge commercial person, which is funny because like I remember different jingles and like how commercials went.
That is funny.
And it could even be companies that I don't technically support, but they left some kind of lasting impact through their ad because it was different. It was unique from everything else I've seen. And then there's other ads where I'm just like, I wish they would stop showing this, because it's not really hitting that authenticity mark. It's like, it's just like the last one they made, or it's just like the last one from this other company. So if you think about it, even on that scale, on the ads that you see on TV day to day, or even now, maybe even bigger than that, it's like Facebook ads. I can always tell when people use the same scripts.
Yep.
It's kind of weird now that I say that out loud, that I go through and I read people's Facebook ads, but I do. Even if it's like not something that I'm into, I'm just like, man, this other guy just said the same thing. And so it's a way of saying something in a different way that's true to you and not true to some other person.
Everyone else. Yeah.
So another thing that we can go down
so good
about for like forever. But I try to keep these to an hour. So we'll move forward. In your business, you've been in business for 3 years now. And in that 3 years, you got hit with a pandemic in would that be year 2 for you?
Yep.
In year 2?
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got hit with a pandemic, and now we're kind of like on our way trying to get back to whatever we're going to call normal after COVID-19 has hit. What's been a goal for you for 2021? What's something that you really want to see happen in your business?
Good question. Yeah. And my business got hit hard. So I learned a lot, like we had talked about a little bit beforehand, but with my business, when it started, I was focusing on like brick and mortar and small businesses and local businesses, because I lived in a community that was small businesses and mom and pops. Like, I loved that. And I didn't really have any online clients necessarily. And then COVID hit and I lost everything but one. But it gave me the awesome opportunity to build from there. Now I work with some brick and mortar, local, but then like lots of online space business owners. And so that has just been obviously the last, like, whenever that hit. But now 2021, I'm looking at it like, oh man, from like it gave me a bigger perspective. And I want to, like, I've done a course, and so I want to launch that again for 2021. But my like framework that I have, it really draws and amplifies like the business owner's voice. And so I really want to focus on messaging on that, because I want it to be accessible for all business owners. Like I want them to feel like they can still do other things and not have to worry about social media. Um, and I really want to just get that message sort of out there more in a real way. But I also want to do more things like this. Like I want to have more conversations and one-to-ones and just build relationships because that's honestly my favorite part of business.
Yeah, it
So
really is. You meet so many people in entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter what you're doing because you're going to need people, right?
mhm,
So you're going to start networking and you're going to start seeing like which entrepreneurs can actually help with your brand and which entrepreneurs you can help with their brand. And so when you
yeah.
start doing all of that, there's amazing relationships. Actually, one of my best friends came from my first adult business because I had little hustles my entire life.
Love
But
that.
and it's so funny. She started out as a customer and then she launched a business. And I was like messaging a bunch of subscription boxes at the time, and she had a subscription box.
How
And
funny.
it was like really weird how this transpired because it's totally not how I operate at all.
Yeah.
But we drove all the way to California for two boxes. One was hers. We had a hotel in the first one, and then we were late, so we missed meeting her in LA where
Oh,
we had the first box. So we had to go to her home city, which I think it was San Francisco at the time.
that's my neck of the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, so we drove all the way from LA to San Francisco, and we ended up staying with them, which was, I had never met this woman a day in my life. This is why I was like, this is totally not something that I
That
would
is,
normally do.
yeah.
But we hung out with them literally all day and late into the night, and it was just so random, and we've been cool like ever since. She was actually in my wedding.
Shut up. That is the best story.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And it was all from like a business relationship. And even now, I've met so many amazing moms. We're not even halfway through the series yet. And at this point, we've even started talking about like, hey, we should like all get together once COVID-19 is over. And
That'd be
so
so fun.
that's something that I'm even thinking about doing because this is fun. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Like being able
Yeah.
to get on Zoom and meet so many different people and put faces to names and businesses. But what I really wanted to do with this before I launched it was having like a either face-to-face interview style where like I rented out a place and we all came to it to do interviews, or doing something where we had like a seminar or something with all of these different moms kind of sharing who they are and what they do. So I'm
Awesome.
excited to hopefully get something like that going because that, you're right, it is the best part of business is the people that you
Mhm.
meet. It's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And Zoom's great, but like also Zoom could be done.
Yeah,
In
but
person could take place again.
Zoom is great because like I guess I might as well share this. Like I told you, like my pants don't match my shirt right now.
Yes.
So it's great for things like that, especially when you've got so many different things going on. I got my daughter hopefully listening to me and doing her lesson while we're doing this, but I'll find out when we're done. And like everything else in the household. So it's like, okay, top half of me is ready. We can do a Zoom meeting. And I don't want Zoom to go away. I just
No.
don't want it to be my primary source of
Mhm.
communication with other people.
Exactly that. Yeah.
So yeah. So I love that you have this long-term goal of basically being very impactful to so many other businesses. Um, what do you feel like has been your biggest success in these 3 years?
Good question. Honestly, I feel like my first gut reaction is like just starting because I feel like so often I could have just got another job. I could have just worked different hours at the hospital. Like I could have worked night shifts again. And that was the thing at one point, and I was so burnt out. So I feel like my biggest success is honestly just starting, not quitting, and then scaling it. Cause each, what's that saying? Like new level is new devil or whatever. That like new levels is new devils. It mindset. So like each thing in my business has made me a stronger person, has made me a better business person and a better mom and wife. And so it's sort of like impacted all different areas of my life. And so
Yeah.
starting, restarting with COVID, and then just continuing to scale, which is scary, but fun.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned how the development in business has actually made you yourself better. And that's something that I talk about a lot in
Mhm.
with my clients and as well as on the channel, is that when you do things for yourself, and in some cases it is running a business, there's growth in that, and that allows you to be a better mom. And it's funny because a lot of times when we haven't gotten to the place of taking that leap of faith and doing something for ourselves, we have this fear that if we go out and do for ourselves, we're somehow neglecting those that we love. But it actually works in the
Yeah.
opposite direction. When we go out and we do things that make us feel good, whether it be running a business or having a spa day or reading a book or whatever it is, those things actually make us better for those people that we love. I've somewhat shared that about my personal life, and that's why I got into another big reason why I got into specifically moms. And we talked about this a little bit
Mhm.
off off of recording was my transition into getting into this. And part of it was when I actually started doing things for myself and I saw my relationships blossom,
Mhm.
both with me and my husband, with me and my daughter, with people outside of my immediate family, at work. Like, you would be surprised how much just like taking time for yourself for whatever it is that you want to do changes everything.
Everything. Agree. Yeah.
It's
And how
amazing.
important it is, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really, really important. And I think that we see the importance once we finally take that leap to do it. Because like I had heard people say it before, like it's not like I'm saying anything that's like mind-blowingly new or anything like that. Is just that once you actually take that leap, that's when you really see it to believe it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, because I mean, I know I've heard it. I still hear different people say it. It's just I didn't know it until I did it.
So you did it and you did. Yeah. You wouldn't even know. It's one of those things that you don't know until you do it, but you don't know how it feels or
Mhm.
whatever until you actually experience it. Um, and then one of the cool things about like this space is that you can pivot. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't love it,
Mhm.
maybe I started virtual assisting and did not love it. And so I pivoted. I did something that I did actually enjoy. And like you have the freedom to do that for yourself and your family and business as well,
Yeah,
which is cool.
yeah, 100%. Pivoting is like my middle name. Like, I'm just gonna change this a little bit.
A little bit here and there.
So, you mentioned that you worked in the hospital and you've done different things before 1010 Social. What was it that made you say, skip virtual assisting, skip the hospital, skip anything else that I've done? Social media is the thing. Like, of all the businesses you could have chosen to do, why do you think that you chose this?
Good question. Yeah, I think when I did start out general, because I had no idea about the online space, social media was one of those tasks and also something that I had done before the business. And so one, it was something I knew and I was comfortable with, but then it was just one of those things that I sort of nerded out about because I never took like an official like here's your master's in social media,
Right,
but
right.
I dug in deep. Like Google was my best friend and YouTube
Mhm.
and then of course like Facebook gives you resources and stuff. So it was just the thing that I honed in on. And honestly, if I would have changed, like if it would have been like, okay, I don't love social media anymore, which during last year there was a huge part where I'm like, oh, please just shut it all down. But we didn't. We're good. Um, but
I got a
if
little
I would
crazy
have
last year.
so crazy. Yeah, so crazy. But if I didn't love social media even, then I could have pivoted to what I did, like launching or coaching or whatever, I just kind of got lucky in that that was one of the things I did and I actually enjoy it and I'm good at it. Not in like a bragging way, but like I just
Go ahead and
because
brag
of
about yourself. No brag.
because of also who I am. It's cool. And I see so many things wrong with this social media marketing world that I'm like, no, this is not like when some stinking influencer, who knows, was like, you need to post 4 reels and 5 IGs and 5, or like all of this, like recently. And I was like, girl, stop, please just stop talking. Like, that is not okay. Because then it puts this burden on people, women, that you have to be doing all the things all the time. And that's not the case. You can
And that means I
have
have to be camera ready
all
like
the time.
way
Please.
too often. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Sorry, not sorry. Like, it's just
No. And that's honestly like how I coach. I mean, not coach, but like coach some of my clients, because I'm like, that's usually what they come to me with. Like, oh my God, I need to create reels. I need to do this. I need to do this. Like, freeze. Let's break this down. Yes, please create a reel because they're hot right now. But does that mean you need to dance like a 20-year-old? No, it means you can literally talk to me in 30 seconds and I will add captions and make it fun. Like, it's just so much noise out there where I'm really like, stop the noise, just show up, be yourself, sell your
you don't
business
have to do
product,
all the
whatever.
things.
You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to dance like a 20-year-old. If you do love dancing and that's your personality, then do it because it's so good. But like, also, you don't have to. You can make it whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, because like I love dancing, but nobody's ever gonna see that.
You don't want to go viral over a TikTok video?
Oh, I'm good. I want my business to thrive and people to know about what I do and all of that stuff. But like the whole viral fame thing, I am so good on that. Like it was so funny because my husband and I, we talked about YouTube and like, oh, we could just make money on YouTube, right? Because we were like,
Right?
all these people making so much money on YouTube. And then I started to think about it and I was like, that's exhausting.
It is exhausting. I do appreciate when some of these people are like, oh, wait, I make this much money on YouTube now, but this is what it took me to get here. This is what
Right.
like one of the home decor, like Instagram influencers I follow. She does like a Q&A session. She's like, this is a 40-hour-a-week job. Like, don't get it twisted. This is not, I post a story and done. Like, there's so much that goes into being an influencer or going viral that it's work.
Yeah. And that was
Mhm.
like we definitely have picked up on our YouTube watching since 2020.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy posts every day. It's like one of the car guys that my husband loves to watch. He posts literally every day. And I'm like, first of all, when you incorporate the cars that he's buying, the parts that he's buying, the equipment that he has, someone's editing the videos, he's posting every single day. So it's a camera in front of his face all the time.
All
I
the
don't
time.
I don't like my child in my face all the time. Do you think I want a
Yes.
camera in my face all the time? Like I really, and it's no like shade to the people who do it. Like get your money however you need to get it. Like that's fine. But I had to have like that rude awakening of like, look, Alina, that is not how you're going to live your life.
No, I mean, if it happens by accident and one of your videos pick up viral, sure, that's amazing. But
Right.
like, it's a lot. I think that too, when like, I don't know if your daughter does it, but like my kids will sometimes get in trouble, but watch like these little YouTube videos with kids playing with toys that they
Yes.
own,
I
and I'm
hate.
like, yes, but then get off of that. That's stupid. Go play with your own toys. But
Right.
then I listed like started Googling some of these families. I'm like, babe, get the camera.
Record the kids playing
Record them
now.
playing. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, like that Ryan kid, I don't know if he still does, but when we don't have cable anymore, we do all streaming now.
Yeah,
When we
us too.
had cable, he had a show on Nickelodeon. And it was like he started just like playing with his toys
With
on YouTube. And I was just like, this is crazy. So I told my husband, because like at the time, this was pre-COVID when we first found out about the Ryan kid. I was like, we take Brooklyn places all the time. We should just like do like these Brooklyn travels. And it's funny because I didn't name it anything, but she goes around and she says, oh, Brooklyn's World. And she does like little intros and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. You're not my kid. I don't know.
Whose kid is this?
I don't know where this extroverted child came from, who's just like, and like everywhere we go, she's like, hi, my name's Brooklyn. I'm like, such a weird. It's so weird to me because like I'm just like people just don't look at me. I'm just trying to get my groceries and get out. It's just like, hi everybody, how you doing today? And I'm like, I don't know where this came from.
Our girls would get along because I have a 4-year-old and she has bright red hair. And so she's already noticeable because of her bright red hair. But she's always like, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm like, shut up, just grab the bananas.
Right. I'm like, can we just get out of here? Like now I gotta talk to this lady that I just like avoided an hour ago.
Dang it. So
She's
funny.
and I mean I'm not a mean person, by the way, people. Like I do speak to people. I don't like if I make eye contact with you, I will smile at you. You can't tell now because I'm wearing a mask, but but I'm a very nice person, genuinely. I just usually I'm just like I'm here for my task. Let me get done, get in and get out. And
Tired. Yeah.
my daughter is like, we could just talk and play and do whatever we want all day. She's just much more extroverted than her mother is and her father. Like I'm just like, I loved when COVID happened because of being able to order my groceries and someone puts them in my car and I don't even have to walk through the store. I talk to one person, is the person who's loading my stuff, and they ask me one question: do you want in the back seat or the trunk? The trunk is already
Go, babe, go.
just the trunk is fine. And I'm good with that. I like having more meaningful conversations with more of what I call my people. And I mean that in like just people that I feel like I can relate with. Like I'm just not the person that's speaking to every single person.
Yeah. And if that happens, then I need like a day to recoup.
Right. Or like I plan something and then when it comes up, I'm like, crap, now I gotta go do it.
You're that meme that I see, like makes plans on Monday, Friday comes, like pajamas and movies.
Yeah, I'm like, do we have to? And
Yeah.
I literally have 2 really close friends. That's it. Like I like keeping my circle really tight. I have people that I'm cool with, of course, but they're more like acquaintances. And they're so chill and I love it. Like they're about traveling and we could stay in and play board games. And I'm like, they are really my people.
Yeah.
Whereas like people were like, oh, let's just go out on the town. I'm like, today? Can we do it?
At all?
Can we do it tomorrow? And then tomorrow comes like, can we do it next week? No, I mean, once I do get out, I do have fun, but yeah, it's crazy.
Getting out.
And I never know how we get to these kind of conversations, but somehow we got here. But I want to get into like, we talked about your business a little bit and we are going to be live on Instagram actually later today because we're doing this all in one day because Sam is awesome. I wanted to get into balance though, because that's one of the major reasons why we're here. We know that you're a mom. We know that you have a business, but now we know so many other things about you as well. How are you juggling all of those things? Do you have a secret to it, or do you have like a method to what I call the madness?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a secret, but so many times when we are moms or we have all these different roles, right? And business owners, and we think that we have to do all the things. So just like in my business, people outsource social media to me. In my life, like girl, my first paycheck was to someone to come deep clean my house because I had neglected it so bad. But like, so there's things like that where like right now I have a babysitter today for 4 hours. And I swear to you, I've never met more productive people than women or mothers who have a tiny time frame to get all the things done. Right. So I get help if I can. We don't have family here in Nashville. So babysitters are lifesavers. But so asking help, or even if there's like tasks in your business that you need to outsource, like get help. And then also don't, how do I put this nicely? Don't listen to all the mindset crap that comes with that, because so often we think like we have to do it all. Like that's what makes us so amazing, is doing all the things. But really it just means we have all these plates and one of them's going to drop at some point, as opposed to like passing it off. Like we had talked about it a little bit too. I don't believe like in perfect balance. If anything, I feel like it's kind of like a circle sort of thing, or
Yeah.
oval sometimes, where like maybe my business is doing amazing, my marriage needs some TLC, but my kids are safe and healthy, like, or whichever way. But like, you don't have to do all the things, so outsource, get help if you can. Another thing that I do is I do like the batch. Obviously, my business is social media, which that actually is one of the reasons I did choose social media too, because I don't have to be necessarily available all the time for all the people. I do a lot of batch work, meaning I sit down, I write lots of copy. I sit down, I do lots of graphics, and then I schedule out. So in my own business as well as like clients, if just give me a chunk of time and I will be so productive. And then after that time, I am still working on this a lot, but I get in the habit of like, okay, here's my mom's hat. It needs to sit at my desk because I actually like what I do. I could probably do this all day long. Like I joke with my husband and I tell him like I'm not psycho, but I'm like, there's two different personalities to me. There's like this homeschooling, homestead, let's get a farm and animals, which no, but version of me. And then there's this like millionaire, which, whatever, but like hard driven entrepreneur. And so like these personalities often clash, but I have to literally take off my entrepreneur hat, leave my laptop at my desk, that sort of thing, and then go put on my mom hat and be like fully present with my kids. I realized before I got help and babysitters and stuff, I'd always be trying to do both. I'd be like answering emails on my phone and trying to play Legos with my kids, and then like never actually
Fully
doing really good at either. Yeah, or like giving my kids my full attention because my phone dinged. So those have been like really hard lessons for me, but I feel like I'm getting better.
Yeah, it's a process. Like none of us are perfect at it. I know I'm not, although I help moms with balance. I'm not perfect at it. Like that's the beauty of balance. And some of the things that you said tie directly into what I say about balance all the time. Is about choices, right? Like you said, those plates is gonna fall eventually. So you can have a choice of letting it fall, and that's fine. If you need to let it fall, let it fall. You can pick it up, glue it back together later, or passing it off to someone if it's something that you can pass off. And you're so right about us wanting to do all the things. I am literally the worst at that. Like I feel like everything has to go this perfect plan or it's like a meltdown. And it wasn't until I started to let go of that I could start into that transition of seeing like, it's okay if, if this didn't go that way. Like I used to think that my daughter's hair had to be done all the time, right? And then I was like, she's not going anywhere and she hates the comb. And so why am I spending, because she has hair thick like mine, so I'm spending an hour making her cry to do her hair for her to go nowhere. We're not even taking pictures, so it's not even like I'm trying to get her cute for like social media photos real quick or something. I'm making her cry. I'm making everyone super, super uncomfortable. I'm like, just let it go. Or like, oh my goodness, she only ate noodles for lunch. That's all she wanted anyway. She wasn't going to eat the extra stuff that I cooked. And so there's all these things of us trying to be like perfect moms or perfect entrepreneurs or perfect wives. And it makes balance look really, really unattainable. When the reality is, it's just like you said, section things off. When it's time for the kids, put the phone away. There's no, I love the team that I'm on for real estate, and my team lead has this saying, there's no emergencies in real estate. It's like, okay, if someone's calling you, you can always call them back. You don't have to stop everything you're doing. And it's the same in our businesses. There's no emergencies. Like no one's having an emergency about a social media post, right? Like, and even if they think that they are, the reality is that they're not. And if it takes you an hour to spend some time with your kids or some time for yourself before you get to that client, it's not going to be the end of the world. And I promise you, if it is the end of the world for that client, they probably weren't the right client for you. And that is a thing.
So good. Yeah.
That is a thing. Like there are people who just aren't your clients, that they're not meant to be your clients. And that was something that I had to also embrace, is as a mom. It's like, what do you mean I can't help everyone? Like, that's what I want to do. But the reality is like, that's why there's so many different people doing what we do, because there's someone there for each person. But
yeah, I love that. No, I love that though. There's two things you mentioned too. There's one, I had to learn about emergencies. Like, just because your client has an emergency, even if social media, whatever, doesn't make it yours. Or just because your client's late on something, all of my clients, then doesn't make it your emergency. Like, you have to set boundaries. Your clients aren't going to set boundaries for you, which boundaries is something I definitely had to learn, because I'd be like emailing them back on weekends or Voxering or whatever. And then I was like, and now I might read it because I'm on it, but like, I intentionally don't email them back till Monday, or just because like, I don't get in the habit of taking up my weekends. I love you, but like, boundaries, right? And then, oh, there's something else you said, the emergency. Oh, unfortunately, one of the reasons I feel like that we put this unnecessary expectations on ourselves, or having to do all the things, or these like distorted views of balance, is because of social media. Because Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform it is, you get that tiny little square or photo of this person's 30-second, 15-second life, and not all of this stuff. Like, there's a whole like industry of like blogger mommies that I love, but there's also parts of that that's like, my house is always clean, or I have 35 kids and I still look perfect, or like things like this. Like, we assume that this woman is doing it all. We assume that girlfriend doesn't have a nanny, a cook, all of this, right? We assume that she has her life together.
Right.
And especially like celebrities, I guess, is a simple example of that. Like, we assume Kim K love, but like, no hard feelings. We assume that she does all the things in all of her life, when really she makes $1 bajillion a year and probably has people for every little aspect of her life.
I don't blame her, because I would too.
I would too. But especially like when we were house shopping, and my husband would be like, oh, what about this one? I'm like, unless this comes with a cleaner, like, I don't want this big house. Sorry. Like, I don't. So, but that's what I mean. Like, no shade to Kim, but like, we assume because she shows the picture of her and her beautiful family that her life looks ABC, when really that's not the thing. And that's not our life. Like, we have to take what's ours, put on our blinders, do the best we can, find the balance in our home and our life and our business, and then do whatever it takes to keep that.
I think that last part that you said is the exact key. We take our lives and we apply it to what we're seeing on social media. Like, oh my goodness, I wasn't able to clean the kitchen last night, and so I woke up to dirty dishes. Girl, I wake up to dirty dishes all the time. It's life.
We're fine. Yeah, it's fine.
And then you're seeing, oh, well, this person's in their kitchen and it's perfectly clean. And two things: either A, they probably have some help somewhere, or they may, especially like with me, my only child is 4 years old, right? She's not helping me a lot around the house with cleaning. But if someone has a 15-year-old kid, they've got help in their child in itself. If they're wealthy, they've got hired help.
Yeah.
And if they're like me, they shoved all the crap in the corner and took a quick clean
wiped off the counters.
Right. Took a quick clean picture and then put all the crap back.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's totally curated, and we can't look at, and it's not just social media. I mean, it can even be with people that are close to us. Like for me, it was my mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. She's amazing. I'm very blessed to have a mother-in-law like her, but she's like, everything's always in its place. And I don't know how this woman does it. It's just who she is. It's just how she has managed so many different things her entire life. And so I've always looked at her and I'm like, I don't know how you do this. But then I started to really pay attention. She never sits down. She literally never sits down. And it's like, she's always up and she's tinkering and she's moving stuff and dusting and cleaning. And I was like, I don't want that to be me. If that's the case, I'll just open like a cleaning business and
clean.
And
make money.
That's not what I want to do. And so that's the other thing that we have to look at is, do you really want to do the work that will be required to have that life that you think is so great? Because if you take time and you want to become me for a quick second and overthink and overanalyze things for a moment, we'd easily realize like that's not even what I want. I will hire someone once I'm at that financial class to hire someone to come in and clean my house.
Yeah.
But for me to do it every single day, all day, I would get nothing else done.
No, no. And really that might make your mother-in-law feel better and feel productive. Like there's things like when my house gets too much or laundry gets too much, it affects like my stress levels. Like I'm like, I always have like this nagging, like, oh, I got to do the laundry or whatever. And that's just me. So when my laundry's all done, I feel better. That's
Mhm.
also not always the case, like at all. But there's other things like in the business world, like, oh, wake up early and do your magic morning or like make your bed every day. And I'm like, I I don't make my bed every day
I,
because I usually get right back up in it. Or like there's just things where like take good education and training, sure. But like my habits are in the evening because I am a night person. I'm not a morning person. Please don't ever wake me up early for anything unless you're like dying, okay? But but at nighttime, yes, I can do the things or whatever, you know? So taking even some of the business training or life lessons that we learn and just applying it to our life, our personality. One of my first business coaches was amazing. And I had to realize that what her life looked like was, and all these women that you're interviewing, same thing, like what her life, she hit $1 million. We started the same time and I would have some comparison. She hit $1 million in her business super quick. And like, I am her biggest cheerleader. I adore her. But I also had to realize A, she's not Sam. B, Sam has 4 kids and a husband who works full-time job and XYZ. And she has a retired husband, 1 kid. Like our lives just look different and none's better
right.
or worse or whatever. It just means we can do things differently. And so I would do that with like relationships too.
Yeah.
Or people might think they do that with me, but then they see my room and they're like, oh, Sam's normal. So normal.
Yeah, and I think that's the major thing is like just not trying to compare ourselves to other people because like you said, and it's a perfect, if you guys haven't been watching the series, just pop into a couple of them and you'll see there's
Mm-hmm.
so many differences. Like even just between you and I, you're like, I'm not a morning person, I'm an evening person. I used to be an evening person. And I think that's who I am naturally, but I
Yeah.
have to make myself a morning person.
I need to do it too.
And the reason I had to do it was because the morning is the only time that nobody else is getting up in my house, right? So in the
Yeah.
evening, I've got my husband, and he's just like, "This is our time now. Like the kids sleep. Like you're watching movies with me. You're talking to me about whatever the heck I want to talk about." So I know the evenings are no longer mine, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
before having a child, the evenings could be mine because I spent all day with my boyfriend at the time or fiance, whatever. It's like, so you're good. I can go do whatever I want and you don't feel neglected. But now during the day, it's so much mothering going on
Yeah.
or even working going on that by the time the evening comes around, my husband's like, did you forget I exist? So I have to get up early in the morning. And usually, in all honesty, people, what ends up happening is I get up before I got sick, I got to get back into it now. I would get up at like 4:30 in the morning. I'd work for a couple hours. It was like the best work ever
Yeah.
happened in that time. So I'd give myself like an hour to myself. That's when I'm showering, kind of like reflecting on the day. Then I bust out a couple of hours of work. I get so much done in 2 hours. Like I
Mm-hmm.
blow my mind every single time. And then I usually slip in for like an hour of extra rest before everybody else gets up. So,
Yeah.
and then I can start my day with everyone else. And I might even be able to sneak in a nap in the middle of the day somewhere if my daughter is nice enough to take a nap. And
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm good for the evening to still hang out with my husband and do all of those kinds of things. But that's what works for me. And
Yeah.
what's working for my life might not work for yours. Like if someone has a husband who's working night shift, for example,
Mm-hmm.
evenings might be a better time for them to actually do things because it's just their own time and the kids are sleeping, the husband's working nights. My husband doesn't
Yeah.
work nights. So
Yeah.
Doesn't
Just
work.
all looks so different.
Mm-hmm. So different. So I want to get into some of my fun questions now that we know a little bit more about Sam. And Sam, really quick, have you been watching the series? Do you know what my fun questions are?
I watched one episode. I have not caught up. Mm-mm.
Oh, you got homework now.
I know. I do.
Homework.
Hey, this was a surprise for me. I wanted to space it out.
Yeah, I know. At first, Sam was on deck, everyone. So, as I kind of mentioned, and one or maybe many of the series, we booked the series very quickly, and so I actually still have a list of moms who are on deck. Thank God for that, because we had a cancellation because life happens to us all, and that's what I was talking about earlier, in where Sam stepped up to the plate and got added in. So Sam actually did have like plenty of time technically, because we were thinking maybe we'll do this next year, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up happening much faster than we had initially anticipated. So now she's just got homework to do.
Good with homework.
But anyways, we're going to get into my fun questions. The first one is, if there was a book written about your life, Sam, what do you think the title would be? And why would that be the title? And I literally have to go back through and write all these titles down and keep eyes out for you guys' books too.
Yeah. Okay. So my book would be called The Abundant Woman. That's cheating because we kind of already talked about the name, but I just love that idea, and not abundant in like the woo or the spiritual wealth, like abundant in like this, exactly what we're talking about. Honestly, like this conversation will help women to live abundantly. The fact that they don't need to, they can hear us talk and not have to stress about like what comparison or balance, like these conversations even is exactly what I would want it to be. I would want it to share like some of my life stories and then encourage women to like blaze their own trails and live the life that they want to.
Nice. And I think that is the most pure definition of abundant life. And I think sometimes that idea gets a little muddied in thinking that it's about like having things and
money.
Yeah, money and things and like big entourages or whatever. And it's really such a simplistic view sometimes of what abundance really is. So I love that. Abundant Woman, coming to a bookstore near you.
Yeah, one day.
So my next question, this may be for my love of Aladdin, or it just maybe because it's a fun question. I still haven't decided. You, Sam, are on one of those little mountain hikes that we kind of talked about, and you come across a little lamp, and you rub the lamp, and boom, here's Genie Alina, and I'm granting you 3 wishes. The 3 wishes have one rule and one rule only, is that you cannot wish for more wishes. Other than that, you can wish for whatever you want. It does not have to be for business. It does not have to be for your children. It can be if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be for anything. And it can be a selfish or selfless
so hard.
as you want it to be.
That is so hard.
I know, right? Only 3.
Only 3.
I am a very helpful genie, by the way. So like if your wish has loopholes, I'll help you like fix those loopholes a bit.
Oh, mine are all gonna have loopholes. I don't know. Okay, so wish number 1 is I want everyone, I don't know how to say it. I want there to be no poverty. Everyone to be fed and homed. I'm sure there's a loophole in there, but children, men, women across the world to have a home, to have food on their table.
I'm being summoned again, but I'm going to act like I'm not for a little bit.
You don't hear her. It's okay. I also would like a teleportation machine because I hate traffic and would like to just be somewhere now.
Man, us moms don't like traffic. That's like the second or third time that someone's like, look,
really?
through traffic. Yeah. traffic is a beast wherever we live.
Yeah. I mean, like if I could just, or even like, you know, in the spoiled way, I'd like to be on a Florida beach.
Okay, so you stream, right? You do a lot of streaming.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you into superheroes?
I mean, yes.
Okay,
All
so
Marvel. Mm-hmm.
if you and your husband have not already watched Jupiter's Legacy, my husband and I
No.
we just like blew through it in a day. We're horrible. We just like watched the whole series and I'm like, I'm ready for the next one. But it's really, really good. And there's a character that has a teleportation device. I won't tell you how it works or anything like that because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that has not watched Jupiter's Legacy. But I love superhero movies. I never was into comic books, but I love movies.
But I love the movies.
Series. Like I love that Marvel's doing series, and I've watched all of them so far, and I'm really looking forward to Loki's next month. So,
yes. Yes.
Yes, definitely watch Jupiter's Legacy. It was so good. I felt like it was a little slow in the first episode, personally. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I was like ready for like Marvel. Like I'm really spoiled to Marvel. I'm not a big DC fan. And so I'm like really spoiled to like Marvel's level of like cinematics. And it was a little bit slower, but it is so good. It's one of those ones you have to pay attention to because they do like flashbacks and stuff. But
see, you're speaking my language. Yeah.
I told you, like when you started talking, I was like, I could hang out with Sam.
We could literally just Netflix and watch all the shows.
For sure.
And Disney Plus it.
Yeah. And another show on Netflix, and then we can get back to your third wish. Ginny, it's not a superhero show, but Ginny and Georgia is really good.
Oh, I watched it. I probably binged that so quick.
I haven't finished it because my husband's like not into Ginny and Georgia, so I only watch it when he's not around, which is like he's always here because of COVID. So but it is really good. I'm like the mom is crazy, but
crazy. She gets crazier, don't worry. Yep.
I'm sure. I'm just like, what? When I found out about the yoga guy, I was like, she did what?
Yeah. But then I also, okay, never mind. We won't.
Okay.
I also wonder if she did it because of Georgia and he was a creeper.
Yeah, I think that's why. Like, I think that's
right.
Like,
so then I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah, right. Don't touch my kid.
Don't touch my kid. Don't
what you got.
Look at her. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I really, really love her character because I feel like all the crazy that she does, there's like a really good method to her madness. So yeah,
or trauma response. But yeah,
so I'm like really interested in learning more about her. So I'm like only on like episode 4, I think.
Oh yeah.
So I've got some
time.
I
won't tell you. See,
but anyways, I'm gonna have you go ahead and do your third wish.
Oh, I forgot about the wishes. No, go back to Netflix.
Netflix.
Oh. I'm sure there's some I'm supposed to be saying. I wish that everyone would have the opportunity to hear in a loving, kind way about Jesus without Bible thumping and all of that, and then be able to make up their own decision, but have that first encounter decision be a good one. There's so many things I can say about that, but I won't. But that everyone has the opportunity to hear, at least in a loving, kind way.
Yeah.
I know that's not always the case.
Mm-hmm. It's the first impressions are so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And we mess that up. Like people, we mess that up so much.
Oh yeah, because then we twist things to fit our own agendas and beliefs that don't necessarily align.
Yep, sure do. In any religion, yes, ma'am.
So yeah, I think that is a beautiful, beautiful way to put it, because that first impact is, and it has to be a very strong, loving way. I think I told you I'm a helpful genie, and it'll add to your wishes. It has to
Yeah,
be
do it.
very impactful, loving way, because speaking from my own personal experiences in my own home, it was great. Like as far
Yeah.
as my mother's teachings and everything. But I had a family member who will go unnamed because I don't love them any less for this. Gotcha. That completely made it like super negative. So
Yeah.
anyways,
And
thank
I'm
you.
sorry about that. Yeah.
You're fine. Thank you for your 3 wishes. Go ahead and tell everyone, just because we do need to wrap it up, how they can connect with you. And just so you guys know, we will be live at 8 p.m. Monday, and it's also on Instagram Live. So
Yeah, in a few hours. Yeah, so if you want to connect with me, the best place is probably Instagram, honestly, and it's 1010 social, TEN10 social all together. You will find this little mug, and you can message me. I'd love to chat and get to know you. Of course, my website and Facebook are all the same thing, 1010 social, whichever platform you hang out at.
awesome. Thank you so much, Sam, for taking the time
You
out
are
to do
welcome.
this.
Thanks
And
for having me. This was so fun.
yeah, it was. I never pay attention to time. I always say an hour and they end up being like longer than that.
Of course.
So
Okay.
I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.